Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone once again. I hope that you enjoyed your last virtual lecture. Today we are going to proceed with the remaining part of the chapter. And if you remember, we talked about this particular part where we discussed few targeting strategies, started with differentiated marketing. Then we had undifferentiated marketing, differentiated marketing, concentrated marketing, and micro marketing. And we give an example of a company that offers an extreme method of customization for the customers, where you can custom design your shoes, you can color it, you can put a pattern on it the way you want. Today we are going to focus on concluding the target marketing strategies, or the market targeting strategies, and then we will proceed with the differentiation and positioning strategies. Now, if you look at this particular slide, it says that you have to consider a few points before you choose a particular targeting strategy. Either it is differentiated, or it is undifferentiated, or it is micro marketing strategy, or it is niche marketing strategy. You have to keep in mind these 5 important points. The first one is you have to look at how much resources do you have. Do you have enough resources? When the word resources is a broad term, it includes employees, it includes monetary resources, it includes all the other type of resources that a company needs in order to address that particular strategy. So the first important one is find out if you have resources. If you have enough resources for a particular strategy that you're choosing, then you can go ahead with that. The next thing is, if you're choosing a strategy, will that strategy be aligned with the product variability? The product must be different than the rest of the products that the competitors are offering. If you are offering the same thing compared to the rest of the competitors, now this particular point may not be of this particular point may have to be considered extremely carefully. Further, in the product variability, it is an important point to keep in mind that if you are producing certain type of products which are not homogeneous in nature, which are the products that are produced with slight difference in the quality. For example, the number of products that you produce, each product differs from the other product. So in that case, the products are different than one another. In this case, you can actually not choose the standardization strategy, because the products automatically are produced in a variable way. So you have to keep in mind, if the products are variable, there is a certain level of variability in the product, then you have to choose another strategy compared to the standardization strategy. Product life cycle is an important topic that we'll discuss in the product chapter, inshallah, in the coming classes. You will see that PLC, it is commonly called PLC, or product life cycle, is an important topic in marketing. In fact, very important topic in marketing. It highlights that, in simple words, it highlights that a product moves through certain lifespan. For example, the products are developed, the products are in growth stage, then the products get mature, and the product just decline or die, just like we have a human life cycle. So in short terms, we have to find out in which part of the product life cycle our product is, and based on the part in which the product is, we decide the strategy relevant to that. The next point important is market variability. We have product variability, where the products are offered with variable qualities. Then we have market variability, that the market is a certain type of market that they don't want the same product. They want certain varieties in the product, right? So if the market is that type of market which are searching for different varieties in the product, then you have to choose the strategy related to that particular market. And the last one is what strategy your competitor is using. Of course, it is extremely important to keep an eye on your competitors, because if you do not know what your competitors are doing and you do things which are not as good as your competitors, the chances are that your company may not be very successful. So what you do is you have to find out the strategies that are used by competitors and then make something better than that, or at least just like them. So these are the 5 important things that you have to keep in mind before you plan on targeting or before you plan on choosing a particular targeting strategy. The next very interesting thing is socially responsible target marketing or market targeting. What is it actually? That one of the allegations or one of the problems in targeting is that scholars or marketers say that normally the marketers choose those customers who are vulnerable, who are at disadvantage, who are in need. So when you choose the vulnerable or disadvantaged customers or consumers, the chances are that you will manipulate, the chances are that you will you will provide them things at a different price, at different quality, at different events that they may not they may not have purchased it if they were not in vulnerable situation. So what is this is one of the controversies or the problems as is mentioned here. So what is socially responsible target marketing? It is marketing where in management we call it win-win situation, where you have where you earn profits for your company. Of course, that is the motive, but at the same time you give benefits to the customers as well, where the companies where the target marketing serve interest of both the company and the customer. So the company and the interested customer should be kept in mind before you before you choose a particular targeting strategy. So we call it socially responsible target marketing. Okay, now let's go to the let's have a look at the last two important terminologies. As you remember that in the last class, in the last virtual lecture, I told you that there are four important things discussed in this chapter. The first two were segmentation and targeting, and then the next two, which are here, are differentiation and positioning. If you remember, I told you something about differentiation, and that was when the producers play with the product, when the producers do something with the product, when the producers change the product in such a way that consumers or customers prefer to buy your product based on the outlooks, based on the looks of your product compared to the competitor's product. So it is one of the strategies through which you can have competitive advantage. But there is a problem with this strategy, and the problem is that when producers change the product and they gain some competitive advantage, what happens is that that competitive advantage does not stay for a longer time, because when other competitors see that your differentiation strategy is working, so if they cannot innovate, they imitate, they follow you, and they change the product the way you have changed it. An example of the gadget companies are right in front of us, where one gadget company comes up with something unique and the rest of the companies follow them. One company comes up with a touch screen and the rest of the companies follow them. One companies come with a bigger screen size, the rest of the companies follow them. So that is an inherited problem with the differentiation, that it will give you competitive advantage, you will earn some profit, but the problem is that the competitors may follow that and copy you if your differentiation strategy is really a good strategy. Then the other thing, when the companies normally do not have enough room for changing the product, it means that if the companies do not have enough chances of differentiation, then what do is they actually they play with the minds of the people. What do you mean by that? They make the people think, they make the customers think different about the same product. That is called positioning. When you change the image of the product, the image of your product in the minds of the customers, you follow the strategy which is called positioning strategy. Now let's see what the slides have to say. It says that a firm must decide which segment to target and on which value proposition. What are the things, what are the segments that you want to target? We already talked about it in segmentation. And then what are the areas that you want to highlight? For example, Apple company would highlight that they have a strong operating system. Samsung, on the other hand, would highlight that they have super good touch screens and they have really good cameras. Huawei would highlight, or Oppo would highlight, that they are cheap mobile with equally same benefits offered by the premium mobile. So see, each one of these companies have different value proposition. Mercedes would say that our products are luxurious. BMW would say that our products are extremely secure and they are safe to drive. So see, all Audi would say more or less the same thing. So what are they doing? They have their own value definition, and that's what they portray to the customer every time, so that the customers, with the moment they hear the term that particular company, certain image comes in the minds of the customers. An example that I would give you, and I want you people to think for a while, the moment I say KFC, what comes in your mind? Now, whatever comes in your mind, that is their value proposition. When I say McDonald's, something comes in your mind. When I say IIUM, something comes in your mind. That is the value proposition that the companies tried to provide to the customers. Now, position. How do you position your product? What do you mean by that? It is the way a product is defined by consumers on an attribute. Now, that is the positioning was from the perspective of the company, but product position is what image the customers have in the minds with regard to that company. And interestingly, this particular point may be different. It may differ for different customers. For instance, one customer may look at a product and he or she will say that when I look at the product, or when I hear the word, for example, when I hear the word Mercedes, it gives me the first thing comes in my mind is luxury. But another customer may say that when I hear the word Mercedes, expensive comes in my mind. So see, that is the position of the product in the minds of customers. It may differ, it may vary a lot. So you have to keep in mind that the more homogeneous, the more stable the position of a product in the minds of the customer is, the chances are that you will establish your brand in a much more effective manner. Now, I would suggest you to go and check the case of IKEA company in your book. That is very interesting case. I would strongly recommend to all of you to have a copy of that if you don't have. It says that, particularly talking about differentiation positioning of IKEA, that normally when you look at a furniture company, the first thing comes in our mind is, okay, that's a furniture company. But IKEA's have put themselves in a different, to a totally different level. They say that it's a home furnishing, affordable in many countries, but at least the design is amazing. And they say that life improvement stores. So that is not a furniture store. They call themselves life improvement store. So that is how you create a value proposition or an image of your product or your company in the minds of customers. Recall back the assignment that I gave you. If you remember the impressive taglines, if you go back and see again the same taglines that you people have provided, each tagline is designed in such a way that it gives certain image of the company, and it builds certain image of the company in the minds of the customers. Now, before I go to this part, which is called positioning map, I want to tell you more about positioning from another book. You can just have a look at the slide. That is just for information. You don't need to go to the text of that book, because that is an advanced level, but it is very important for you to understand before we go to the positioning map. It says, what are the things to keep in mind when we are developing a product positioning? This is very interesting and very important. The first thing, they say that you have to focus on the superiority of the product compared to the competitive on one or more attributes. So you have to find out what is the thing that you people offer is superior in comparison to that of the competitors. Or you can also position the product based on the use or application. For example, your product is used or applied in a way that other competitors' products are not used in that way. So it gives you a competitive edge. The next is in terms of particular types of product users. You market it in such a way that you affiliate the product with the users. For example, this ABC person is using the product, so that's why it is one of the best products. for example, that celebrity is using it, for example, this religious scholar is using it, for example, the people that normally are favorite people of the people, favorite celebrities or favorite people in the community. You associate the product with them, and when they are related with the products, normally the companies, but still that is not a very strong competitive advantage. However, some companies that I'm aware of, they would actually employ brand ambassadors. We call it brand ambassadors, and what do they do is they would stay with the company for a very long time. So that is also a competitive edge. For example, Leonardo DiCaprio would be the brand ambassador of a company for 10 years. For example, Lee Chong Wei would be a brand ambassador of 100 plus for many years. So once you're the brand ambassador of that company, you sign a contract with them, you cannot actually go and be the brand ambassador of another same type of competitors company. So that is a very good strategy that some companies are using it. You also position the product based on the class of the product, what class of the product is. For example, the product is of high rank, high quality product. The price of the product is a premium. For example, take an example of Rolex. They consider themselves as a premium or superior quality expensive watch, and they are not ashamed of it. They say that we are expensive watch because we deserve to be expensive. So anyway, so you position yourself based on the what class your product is from. And the last one, which is least preferred, but a number of companies are doing it, that you position yourself directly against competitors, and a lot of companies are doing it. KFC, McDonald's are doing it, iPhone and Samsung are doing it, Apple and Microsoft are doing it, Pepsi and Coke are doing it. Go and Google that. I may have given you an example of a video. That is a very nice video. If you have not YouTube it, so I'll try to YouTube the video by the name of I'm a PC, or I'm a Mac. So by the name of I'm a Mac, there are around 50 to 100 short clips. These are the strategies that the competitors like Apple used many years ago against Microsoft, and then Microsoft also used the same kind of strategies in order to position themselves in the minds of customers. They are very interesting. Let me Google if I can find those. They're very good actually, and I would suggest you people search for them in the YouTube, right? We call it I'm Mac. Yeah, these are the one. See, 10 funniest, and these are very funny actually, so you would actually love it. I will show you one before we go to the next part of the lecture. Okay, I'll just show you one short clip. Let's see this one. I think that'll be good.
Hello, I'm a Mac.
And I'm a PC.
Sensei, you okay?
No, I'm not okay. I have that virus that's going around.
Oh, no.
In fact, you better stay back. This one's a doozy.
That's okay, I'll be fine.
No, do not be a hero. Last year there were 114,000 known viruses for PCs.
PCs, not Macs. So, just grab this.
I think I got a crash.
Okay, if you feel like that'll help. Good. Hello, I'm a Mac.
And I'm a PC.
And I'm a PC too.
quite funny.
What?
Yeah, see, now you can run Mac OS 10 or Windows on a Mac. So in a way, I'm kind of like the only computer you'll ever need.
Ah, touche.
No, I don't think you're using that right.
Anyway, so that was that. Just search for it and you will enjoy the videos, and you will laugh at the same time, and you will learn a lot. So this is how they market themselves against the competitors. Okay, let's proceed with the next one from the other book, of course. That is developing a positioning, product positioning, again the same one. So if you look at your book, in your book they have actually directly jumped into the positioning map without explaining the positioning map. In the book it is already there, but here in the slides I want to explain the positioning map first. What is a positioning map? It's a visual representation of consumers' perception of competitive products, brands, or models. It's the visual depiction, the visual representations of consumers. So you conduct a research and you find out what the consumers think about your competitors, and you put them in a map. We call it a positioning map, and I'll show you the positioning map, a good one that looks actually nice, and that is called a very nice positioning map of automobiles. For example, you put the dimensions, traditional, luxury, sporty, and functional, and you put different brands. Now it depends on you where you want to position yourself. You see the place where there is a lot of room, that is the place where you should position yourself. Or if you are a good company, then you can position yourself here as well. Similar kind of position map is here, that is also for the luxury SUVs, and you see that is actually a two-dimensional. So I would prefer this one. This positioning map looks very nice and crisp and clean. So take a note of this positioning map and find out how the companies position themselves. For example, the consumers are asked about Mercedes and they say luxurious and traditional. The consumers were asked about Mercedes, so they say luxurious and sporty. The consumers are asked about Kia and they say that it's functional. And yeah, on the end of the sport, actually it's just functional, and so on and so forth, right? So these are the positioning map, the map that the companies develop in order to put the competitors with regard to the perception of the customers on them. Okay, now I would also like to talk about this before I go back to your slides, and that is decide on the segmentation strategy. So a firm can decide on any of these points. First, not to enter the market. You segmented and you found out the three things. You remember I told you the marketable, measurable, and meaningful in the last virtual lecture. So the segment is lacking one of these points or any of these points, so you prefer not to enter the market. Then to segment, but to be a mass marketer. Remember the targeting one? So to be a mass marketer. To market to one segment only. Now you have divided the market into males and females, and you prefer to focus only on males or females alone. And then to market to more than one segment and design a separate marketing mix for each of them. Recall back the differentiated marketing strategy that we discussed in the last virtual lecture. Okay, now choosing differentiation and positioning strategy, these are the three important steps followed one by one. For example, the first one is identify a set of differentiating competitive advantage. Now, the first thing you have to find out what are the things that I can put in my product which can make me competitive with regard to my competitors. An example of that I would give you of, suppose you are the producer of a mobile, yeah, and you want to you search the market, you research the market, and you found out that there are few competitive advantages. For example, a competitive advantage of a good strong camera, for example a competitive advantage of a bigger screen, or for example a competitive advantage of adding a stylus or a smart pen with your gadget. So you already found out that these three are the competitive advantages. This may be the competitive advantages if it is put in your product. The next stage is choose the right competitive advantage. Now there are three or more than three, and you went back and you checked these points that I told you. For example, you checked these points: company's resources, variability, blah blah blah, all those points, and you then choose the one which is the best suitable at that event. For example, big screen, nah, that's not good. Strong camera, that is, I don't have that much resources. Adding a stylus or a smart pen, that can be a good advantage. So you go ahead and choose the stylus or the smart pen, and then select a positioning strategy based on the differentiation strategy. So this is how you choose the differentiation and positioning strategy. Okay, identifying possible value differences and competitive advantage. First, what is a competitive advantage? You people already know about it. We discussed about competitive advantage many times. It is the advantage of a competitor over another competitor. Suppose if you are producing a product that others are producing, and your product is offering something more than the rest of the people producing the same product, then you have a competitive advantage. Now the problem with the word competitive advantage is, which is actually not in your book, the problem with the word competitive advantage is that the competitive advantage can be copied, but there are certain type of competitive advantages which cannot be copied. Concentrate on this particular point, it's important. Competitive advantage is something that it can be copied by others. For example, you put a good camera, others can put a good camera as well in the mobiles or in the gadgets. You put a smart pen, other can also put a smart pen. You put a larger screen or a bigger screen, everybody can do that. So there are things which cannot be copied, and we call it, concentrate, this competitive advantage. This is another term that I want to tell you. This from the last class. Yeah, and this from the last class. Let me delete them. So what is that? We call it, concentrate, sustainable competitive advantage. So this is the word sustainable competitive advantage. Yeah, there's an important term here. What is sustainable competitive advantage? It is a competitive advantage that is for longer time, or in some books they say that an advantage that is only yours, nobody else can copy. And I would give you only two examples of them. For example, location of your store, location of your company, location of your outlet. It is a sustainable competitive advantage. For example, the location that you have, the region on the region that you have opened your store is a place is only yours. Nobody else can copy that. Nobody else can take it from you. That's yours. And another one that a lot of people agree to it is called employees. So your employees or something that is sustainable competitive advantage. So anyway, that is not in your book, that is an extra thing, but you have to keep in mind competitive advantage is important. It secures you repute in the market, goodwill in the market, but you have to focus on the sustainable competitive advantage. Please Google and read more about sustainable competitive advantage and find out how can you have sustainable competitive advantage so that you can stay competitive for a longer time. Some of the things in the competitive advantage that your book highlight is that having low prices. You have it can be either by offering greater value with a low price or providing more benefit with the same higher price. Now you are providing equal benefits that the competitors are offering but at lower price, or you are charging the same price at competitors but you're offering more benefits to them, right? Okay, and the last bullet point in this slide is the firm can also differentiate the product with regard to products, services that they offer, the channels that they have used, people, which I told you, and the image that they have created in the minds of the customers. Moreover, one more thing I want to tell you here in this bullet point is that as I mentioned to you, what if you cannot you're done with differentiating the product, you're done with changing the product. So the good news is that you have many other areas in which you can differentiate your company compared to the competitor. So you have already differentiated the product a lot, and the competitors are also following the same way, and now you cannot change the product anymore, and that's it. Then what you do is you offer more services. The example of airlines industry I would give you. So now they're even, by the way, airlines industry are doing a good job. They are differentiating the product a lot, but quite a number of them have now come to equal levels when it comes to offering the product, the same product. For example, the tangibles part of the product, I'm talking about the airplane itself, the same type of seats, the same type of the same type of cabin is available, and so on. So what do they do is now they are focusing more on the services part of, for example, the channel. Some have introduced online booking, and they give you more benefits online booking. They employ more people, more professionals, the people who are more courteous. Even the recent one that I used, I came to Turkey using Turkish Airline, and just like I gave an example, I think in one of the other classes that I saw in Emirates Airline, Turkish Airline also followed it. And what do they do is now they have actually chef on board. So they give you a menu and you select from the menu and they will cook for you. So the chef on board is there. So that is an amazing thing that they are doing. And plus this comes after a long struggle. That is the image that you already have in the market. So you kind of differentiate based on the image that you have. You tell people that, come on, you know this company has been there from the last 100 years and so on. So this is the image. Anyway, further, choosing the right competitive advantage. As I mentioned that the first thing you have to find out a lot of competitive advantages, and then you have to choose the one which is related to the points that we already discussed. For example, the resources, the people, and so on and so forth. Number of differences to promote. Developing, this is an important term here, developing a unique selling proposition, UPS. What is a unique selling proposition? Unique selling proposition is that if you are offering multiple brands, each brand must have a different image in the minds of the customers. Each brand must be marketed in a way of its own. depends on, or for example, if you are making it for a company, then what you do is the company should stick with the same preposition that they have developed in the beginning, or they already have developed over the years. But if a company is offering a lot of products, you remember we discussed in the product portfolio or business portfolio that the companies may have many products, and each product must be designed, each product must be put in the minds of customers in a way of its own, depending on the type of product. For example, if it is a cheap product, an affordable product, then you focus on the affordability part. If you are offering another brand which is expensive but it's a good quality, then you focus on the quality part. And the important thing is you have to stick to it. You don't have to forget about it. You have to keep on emphasizing on this particular value proposition again and again. Positioning on more than one differentiator. What you can do is, being a company, that you can also have many differentiators. For example, you are a good quality company, you are providing a longer time of warranties or guarantees, and your employees are good and your location is good. So see, in a few minutes I told you many value propositions, I told you many differentiators. If you have many, then why not to talk about many of them? Okay, which differences to promote? Now this slide will give you a glimpse of some of the key points in which you can highlight to the customers as your differentiator or as a point of competitive advantage. Important. You show that your product is important to the customers compared to the competitors' products, and similar to that would be the distinctiveness. And your product looks different, or your product offer different value to the customers compared to the competitors. Your product is superior compared to the competitors. So promote the superiority of your product. Communicable. Your product, you make sure that the differences that you are highlighting, it is communicable, it is important, it is distinctive, it is superior, and it is it can be communicated, it can easily be communicated to the customer. So you came up with a distinction that you cannot communicate to the customers. That distinction would no more be a distinction for the customer. So the customers would only find your product different once you tell them that this is the difference. So that is communication should be there. Preemptive, if you remember, I told you about sustainable competitive advantage. That is called preemptive. That your competitive advantage that you're communicating or promoting to the people, it should not be of the nature that it can be easily copied. Well, if it is copied, it's okay, but at least it should be for longer duration. You are focusing on the affordability part as well. That make sure that that the customers around the globe are very price conscious. So you are offering super good differentiation, but at a very high cost. So the product is not affordable. The chances are that the customer will not buy. And don't forget your own self, and that is your company. You are in business because you want to earn profit. But don't be very selfish. Do not only focus on the profit, you should focus on the benefits as well. And that's what we discussed a few minutes ago about the socially responsible targeting. Okay, now this is a very important slide, very important slide, and this says different type of value propositions. On the vertical dimensions, you have the benefits that you offer to the customers, and on the horizontal dimension, you have the price of your product, or the price that the customer pay. I'm repeating again. These are the 9 possible places of value proposition. The first one, on the vertical, you have benefits, that the benefits that the customers are gaining from your product, or the benefits that you offer to the customers. On the horizontal, the price that you charge for the product, or the price that the customers pay. Now there are 9 different blocks, as you can see, and you also see that this part, look at the mouse now, it is moving. This part is the important part that you should focus on. That is the blue part, right? And this purple or red color, depending on how you see it, but it looks purple. This purple or red color is the areas that you should stay away from. These are not good areas. And this one is the central, the neutral part. So let's explain this one by one. The first one, the benefit that you offer are less and the price that you charge is more. Now, look at this point. Will you go and buy a product where you pay price more than the competitor's price? And the benefit that the product is giving you is less than the competitor. Will you go and buy that being a customer? Of course not. You will not buy that. We go for a product that we pay less and buy more. See, we pay less and we get more, something like that. I'll come to this point in a while. But the first one, what is this point? The customers pay more and they gain less benefits. So this value proposition is not a good value proposition. You should stay away from this. Even you should stay away from this neutral one, but it's still okay. This one you should stay away from it. That your product your product offer less benefits to the customers, and the price that the customers are paying is equivalent to that of the competitors' products. So the chances are the customer will quickly switch to the competitors. The next one, the benefit that you're offering is same as that of the competitor, but the price is more. Again, why would you pay more for the same benefits? If I can get the same benefits from another competitor at a lower price, I would go there. So that is a point, stay away from it. The benefits that you offer is the same. Both of them are touch screens. For example, being a customer, you're searching for a touch screen mobile. Both the companies A and B are offering you touch screen, but one is asking you 1000 ringgits, another is asking you 300 ringgits. Which one will you buy? 300 ringgits, of course, because both of them are touch screens, if that is your target. The next one, the good one, that is more for more. You charge more, but you give more as well. You remember one of the points that we discussed a while ago, that if you cannot decrease the price, it's okay, but then give more. If you can give more for more, the chances are that the customer will give. What do you mean by more for more? The price is more than the competitors, but the benefits are also more than the competitors. So the chances are that the customers will go and they would buy the product. The next one. You can actually understand the rest by the same story, but I'll go only to this part, right? I don't need to go to each and every one. So the price is the same as competitor, but the benefit that you offer are more. So more for the same. Very good. That's very nice. If you can do that, you are charging the same price as competitors, but you're offering more benefits than the competitors. Will you go for that? Definitely, being a customer, I will go and buy that product. The next one. Now this is super good. What is it? That you do not charge higher prices, rather you charge lower prices. The competitor is asking you 1000 ringgits, but you are asking 500 ringgits, but the benefit that you provide is more. Will the customer buy? The customer will queue in front of that store for that product, more for less. So you get more benefits for less price. Then the next one is same for less, that you are offering the same benefits that the competitors are offering, but you are charging less. Of course, the customer will prefer to buy that because you are charging less than the competitors. And the last one is less for much less. Now what is it? You are offering less prices, but the chances are that you are giving lower benefits as well. Again, the story is that the customers will buy the product, right? So these are the different possible propositions that you have to keep in mind before you go and target a particular customer. And this one also are the same things that as I mentioned about it. See here, I already talked about it, so these are here. Go through it and see. If there is any problem, you can post that on iTalim, and inshallah I'll try to explain. You are almost getting done with the chapter. Now when you're developing a positioning statement, what you do is summarize the company and the brand position as well. There are four important things in the positioning statement. The format, it should start with to, it should have emphasis on our, it should have is, and it should have that. That is the statement. For example, the to will focus on the target segment and the needs of the customers. The our will focus on either brand or the company. The is the concept of the product or the company, and that is the point of the differentiation. These are the four important things that you should keep in mind in the positioning statement. And we came to the last point, alhamdulillah, and that is communicating and delivering the chosen position. keep it in mind that whatever strategy for positioning or differentiation you have selected, your company's marketing mix must be supporting them. That all the company's marketing mix efforts must support the positioning strategy. If what was marketing mix, by the way? Think. Yes, that are the 4 P's of marketing: the product, price, promotion, and placing. Then maintain the position obtained through consistent performance and communication. Consistency is success, by the way. In life, consistency is success. In business, if you are consistent, you will see that you will reap the reward. You will reap the benefit of success. And the last one is the product position should be monitored and adapted over time. Now, if your product position is successful, again, the thing is that the customer's likeness and dislikeness, the customer's taste changes over time. The customer taste changes over time. So what you do is you change over time as well. You adapt to the customer likeness and dislikeness. If you think that your positioning that you have developed earlier was good and you stick to that throughout the lifespan of the product, customer will kick you out of their mind. So you have to make sure to have consistent, deliverable with a high performance, communicable, and adaptable over time. With that, we come to the end of our chapter. I hope that you enjoyed it. See you with another chapter, with another lecture, inshallah. Thank you so much. See you. Bye.